Flamesnation, Noah, it's Printzy here, and we are back with another episode of Shot Down in Flames, presented by Flamesnation. We don't have nothing to talk about today, do we, Noah?
I guess we don't. I mean, not we've got no, you know what? Forget about that. No, we've got a lot to talk about, man. I am super fired up about this, and I've had plenty of days to think about it in almost a week, man. I am so ready to dive into this thing finally and really get my thoughts out about this whole thing, man.
Oh man, yeah. I don't even know what to say right now, man. Obviously, we're gonna talk about Johnny. We'll talk about the free agents. Matthew Tkachuk news just dropped tonight, so this is once again. But before we dive into this, guys, we got something really cool. People forget about all this chaos and stuff that's happening. In the NHL right now is World Juniors are coming. World Juniors are coming in August up in Edmonton, just where our friends at Oilers Nation are up. So we're gonna have lots of cool stuff right there. So the summer, it's officially here, and there's no better way to kick off the cool than at the rink during the first ever summer World Juniors. So single tickets for the tournament are on sale right now. They're starting at just $40. So grab your sunglasses, the brightest stars in the junior game. They're coming to Edmonton, coming up to that beautiful rink up in Edmonton to see that stuff. So check that out right now. AAHF World Juniors. Check it out online. Tickets are $40. You heard it here first. Let's dive right into this, Noah, because we've been festering for so long and having to deal with this. Is not a fun off season for Flames Nation, for Flames fans, for
not at all.
Even people that are just fans of the game, man. Like, to watch all this stuff unfold in front of it. Or in front of us, it's not fun, man. And luckily enough, we were able to go on Instagram Live last week as the Gaudreau stuff kind of dropped. And as I had mentioned on the Instagram Live show, I was recording a podcast with Missing Curfew with Shane O'Brien and Scotty Upshaw. We had our guest David Pagnotta from the Fourth Period. He was on the show as the news dropped, and like he had to like put us on mute, and like he picked up the phone, and like he looked, it's like a look of shock on his face, and like I kind in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, fuck, like, and my phone just starts going off, and sure enough, it was Johnny Gaudreau to the Columbus Blue Jackets, where even today, the following Monday, or I guess it hasn't even been a week, but we're still scratching our heads, man. Like, have you been able to make any sense of this, Noah?
Well, just before I have a little bit of a rant here about how I feel just as much as you do, because we were talking about this off air before we came on, and how I still believe Johnny did the Flames dirty. The fit makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do not understand about this. Why Columbus? Because who your center with you is going to be Jack Roslovic. Yeah. He's not bad, but he's not a world beater.
I know that.
Not at all.
That's kind of like saying I went to Calgary to play with Dubé, right? Like, it doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. And like, we're gonna dive into, maybe more of his decision here. But yeah, I'm still kind of confused as to the roster. Like, you take aside all of the, potentially not want to be in Calgary and closer to home and stuff like that. Like, there were, there's stuff out there. Obviously the Flyers, it came out there. Like people are laughing at the Flames. You should be laughing at the Flyers too, because he wanted to go there apparently, and they didn't even try.
Chuck Fletcher was being Chuck Fletcher.
Didn't even try to make a move for him. And we had, again, with Pagnotta on our Missing Curfew podcast, he had said on air that there's a lot of people within the Islanders organization who are very mad right now because they thought that they had him. So what happened to make it Columbus? Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this.
I almost feel from what Johnny said in either his press conference or his interview with Tim and Friends, my biggest impression on him choosing Columbus is he really didn't do his research, and it all came down, and Columbus was really a last resort, is what I think happened.
Yeah, no, I watched most of the press conference when he got introduced, and we'll get into that too. Didn't really seem to know much about what was going on in Columbus and the city and stuff like that. So like, did he do his research? Like, who knows, man? You may never know. You may never know until maybe he starts coming out on some of these podcasts and spitting chicklets, and maybe we'll get him on Mr. Curvy. Who knows? But you might not hear some of these stories until it actually comes out. there's just, Flames fans are just sitting here today, still just so confused as to why it came down that late in free agency. He announced in the evening the night before that he wasn't coming back. But why did it take so long? If he said in his press conference or whatever that, we never really wanted to come back to Calgary. Like
here's what my theory is, to be honest, Printzy. My theory is this. I think Johnny Gaudreau sat on this for the longest period of time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? At least if you were more honest, or if you were more clarity to the Flames, I'm more at peace with that.
Yeah.
But it's like you sat on this for the longest time and you knew you weren't coming back. So why wait that long?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of Flames fans are really pissed off about is it's just why did you wait so long?
And it made seem and the Flames thought that they were the front runners.
Yeah,
that's what he made them think.
There's so many conflicting reports of people saying, yeah, no, he thought he was going back to Calgary, then changed his mind and this and that. And, days leading up to free agency, we have our insider, Frank Saravelli, tweeting that, yeah, the Flames made a massive offer. And then, we got Pat out there saying that the Flames have, been in constant positive communication. Like, it just was such a wild situation to follow along with. And, to choose Columbus, like, I know it's kind of funny because like the city of Columbus is now just getting such a bad rap because you're like, why would you choose Columbus over all these other places? And I don't know. I've never been to Columbus. I'm sure it's a nice place.
Now let's be clear about this for a second. Columbus is an amazing city. Nobody, not me or not you, is saying, oh, Columbus is a shit stone or something like that. But at the same time, it's just like, why Columbus? Like, what made you so want to go to Columbus? Like, I don't get it at all. The fit's not there.
Yeah, no. And like, that's like, he was saying stuff in his press conference too, but like, I was excited about the arena and stuff like that too. Isn't the arena like almost 25 years old? Like the Islanders have,
it's like 20 years old.
Yeah. Like, well, and like I read something online that they only sold out like 75% of crowds and games and stuff like that too. Like maybe things will change now that he's there, obviously. It's just, it's a bizarre thing. And like, you don't wish the guy to not have success. I don't wish anyone not to have any success except anybody at Oilers Nation. You just like, you're just praying that Columbus just doesn't make the playoffs, right? It's just with the, we need to fix our stuff, and we'll get into Matthew Tkachuk in a bit here too.
And keep in mind too, by the way, with the Blue Jackets in particular, is that they might lose Patrick Laine. They may not re-sign him.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the other thing too, is Johnny may lose a potential Laine.
The thing about this is he signed such a long-term deal, right? Like his 7-year deal or whatever. He might not find success right away, but then people are going to want to come play with him. I guess it kind of depends on how the year goes, but people are probably going to want to come play with him, right?
But it all comes down to this, though. Does Johnny have the same success, though, in Columbus that he did with Tkachuk and Lindholm?
That's the biggest thing.
In Calgary. I don't think he does.
And that's the thing, too, man, is we're a couple of years removed. And this is, again, I am going to tee off on the Flames fan base a little bit here. Is we're 2 years, removed from fans being like, blow it up, get rid of him, get rid of the core. And yes, yes, I understand that we didn't get anything for him. If you would have blew it up 2 years ago, you would have got some for him. But here it is.
And there's no way management should have let it come to this point at all with Johnny.
No, they shouldn't have. They should have closed this deal. And for whatever reason, if it's Tree Living that's still around in, I think it's 2 years when Lindholm is up, avoid this situation, please. Let Lindholm play his next year and then figure it out next offseason. Avoid this situation, because this was, I'm sure, like, you can't sit here and say that this was fun for Brad Tree Living. No, I'm sure that he's stressed out of his goddamn mind right now, lost sleep, and I'm sure he's still not sleeping. But for Flames fans, like, we can't go through this, man. Like, the fan base right now is miserable, and to a degree, some of the stuff that Flames fans are saying is just downright embarrassing. But we just can't go through this anymore. And you'll never know until he actually comes out and says this kind of stuff as to why he didn't want to come back to Calgary. You don't know what's his dealings were like with owners, with management, with coaches, that kind of stuff too. It's not public info like that. This was his job, man. He just it's a sport, but it's his job. Have you ever worked a job where you thought your boss was a dickhead and you didn't want to be there anymore? That could have happened, man. Like, Daryl Sutter, you don't know. Like he's a good coach, but who knows what he's like behind closed doors? You have no idea, man. Nobody has any idea. Obviously, the main thing out there was he wanted to be closer to his family. And I can't say that because I have family that's the farthest family away from me is 3 hours away. So I don't know what it's like to be halfway across the world or country or whatever you want to call it from my family. I have no idea what that's like. So I can't say that. I have
Keep in mind, like crossing family across the border and
crossing the
all
border
this
and this
different
stuff
types of stuff.
I have kids, man. I know. No, you don't have kids. You're not there yet. I have kids, man. Sometimes you need help. It's not the easiest thing in the world to look after your kids, man. You need help. Maybe that's something that his wife wanted. Now, getting help in Columbus, that doesn't make any sense. Again, still why we're scratching our heads here.
Well, let's be honest here, though. I consider Columbus to be more central USA territory than east borderline USA. Because, like, when you look at the East Coast, you look at New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Washington to an extent. You look at those types of cities. Like past the Washington, D.C. like border, you would probably look at Columbus, St. Louis, Cleveland, Chicago as like more within central and Midwest USA like territories.
Yeah, man. And I think that was something that he might have said too was, it's just he plays in Columbus. How many times is he going to play Philly? How many times is he going to play the Islanders and the Rangers and the Devils and this and that, where it's more accessible for his family to go to those areas?
And the fair point being is he'll be playing them more often than you would as a Flame, and which I mean you credit in that regard, but at the same time, again, it's just like, okay, so you sat on this for the longest period of time, and they knew that you weren't going to come back, so why the wait?
Yeah,
why not give the Flames the clarification that they need right away to be able to have a plan B?
Yeah,
and part of it also is management's fault because you should have had a plan put in place in case if this happened.
Yeah.
And the other thing, as I've said too, is you should not have let it get to this point. Not at all.
It's still just, to me, it's still so freaking early too. I understand the frustration. Trust me, I like I've said this many times, I'm the one that sees the comments, and there are some stupid ass comments in there when we post something.
Imagine losing Gaudreau and Tkachuk in the same offseason.
I know, but it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened yet. So people online, quit fucking saying that. Quit going out there. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's not fucking gone. He's still here.
Don't underestimate though how the Tkachuks, do business.
No, I trust me. I am fully aware of that. And again, we'll get into Matthew Tkachuk here. It's
no slandering on Matthew Tkachuk, but when it comes to dealing with the Tkachuks and negotiations, it is an intense grind trying to get the right deal or something like that, right? So I understand why people might be nervous about this, considering the fact that, well, I mean, who the hell knows what he's thinking right now?
Nobody knows, man.
Nobody knows.
There's so many people that think that they know, but they don't know. You don't know shit, man. If you're on Twitter, you got 100 followers saying that, oh, I know Matthew Tkachuk. You don't know shit. You know nothing. There's a reason why you are on Twitter talking to nobody and you're not in the Flames front office, because you don't know shit. Okay? We'll move on from that. I can't say this. I'm not an NHL hockey player. Okay. I don't make millions of dollars a year. I don't have these decisions. We'll get into it in a later podcast. I was before I joined Flamesnation, I was in a free agent period in the hockey world content creators, if whatever you want to call it, between Miss and Curfew and Flamesation. Yes, I was a free agent, and I had a very difficult decision to make. I ultimately made a decision where I got to stay where I wanted to go. No, not even close to what Johnny Gaudreau, but can I compare a little bit? Yeah, absolutely. I can understand. Were you thinking with your heart instead of your head, and then you're thinking with your head instead of your heart? It's not easy, man. What we can say this about some of the interviews, like I said, I don't think that Johnny Gaudreau is a good speaker. I just don't think he is.
I think Johnny Gaudreau, in my honest opinion, and what we've seen of him the last couple of days, I think Johnny Gaudreau is an extremely awkward personality. Yeah, and I think he's a very complicated type of person to figure out. And I kind of feel there's a bit of confliction with him. Like I think he's very confused as to what he really wanted when it was all said and done.
I think he probably knew what he wanted, but he just doesn't know how to articulate it because he's not. He's not a used car salesman. He's not trying to sell the fan base on anything. Yeah, like he's sitting there in Columbus, probably sighing a little bit of relief, thinking, oh, I just get to go speak about Columbus. And, I get to be excited to be a Blue Jacket and be around their fans or whatever. And he gets a question from Eric fucking Francis, man. Like you see the look on his face.
I want to know how Eric Francis and Wes Gilbertson were able to even get media passes to that availability to begin with.
I'm not too sure, man, but you saw the look on his face of just when Eric Francis asked the question about Calgary. And you could tell he didn't want to answer any questions about Calgary. But yet again, there's fucking Eric Francis asking him questions about Calgary. The guy that probably had played a part in running him out of town too.
But when he says he's got a thing planned for Calgary, what does that even mean?
I don't know, man. Like maybe he's got a video tribute. Maybe he's got something. I don't know, man. Let him figure that out.
It takes you 5 minutes to write up a note on your phone and then post it. Like,
no, I know, man. I know. It's just wild, but I don't think he was prepared to ask that question. And once again, he was trying to fucking avoid the media guys from Calgary, and they've just followed him everywhere. I'm like, it's just wild, man. So it is what it is, man. Like you can sit here and cry and complain about it, and trust me, I'm the one that has to deal with the fucking idiot Oiler fans that are just rejoicing in all of this, man. Again, one of our earliest episodes of Shotdown and Flames, we talked about how the Oilers were the disgrace in their fan base of the NHL for 15 years and didn't know, and they don't know how to handle success, right? Like karma is a motherfucking bitch, Oiler fans.
I understand Islanders fans' pain now when it comes to the whole Tavares thing.
I do, but I just don't know why that Oiler fans talk about Gaudreau more than they talk about their team's actual signings. That's the confusing thing to me. It's like they like to celebrate when another team has a failure because they're not used to having success, right? This is what I went back to. They're not used to having success. So they celebrate other team failures.
It used to be Red Sox fans for a period of time there before pre-2004, but anyway.
Yeah, well, let's just
whatever.
Whatever, man. We'll focus on these fucking Oiler fans. But so this kind of transitions into free agency day. And again, I know that we're gonna have people that listen to this, and whatever clips end up on social media, we're gonna get absolutely ripped. I am gonna get ripped for it at least anyways. But I'm the one that sees all this stuff. The people that on free agency day sat there and cried and complained and bitched and whined and called for Tree Living to be fired because we didn't make fucking 9 signings of significant players and we only signed depth guys. Like, again, this is why you're speaking to nobody on Twitter, because you don't fucking know what you're talking about. They lost how many guys from Stockton? Or we're just gonna, because it was Stockton. Yeah, they lost them from the previous year in Stockton. How many guys did they lose from Stockton? Whether it was Glenn Gaudin or Kirkland or Vern, whoever it was, to go to these different places to get a different opportunity. You think that those players, the roster spots in the AHL, they just fill themselves, right? You think that they just, poof, a player disappears. You have to go and get those players, okay? We're kind of doing things in the reverse order here. In the summertime, you normally make your big free agent signings and this and that, and then weeks or a month later goes on, and then you're signing these depth guys.
Well, we're not. Remember too, though, like, the reason that Brad had to get all these depth signings done was because he had to fucking deal with the Tkachuk stuff that was coming
I
out.
know, man. And that is the number one priority right now is Matthew Tkachuk, Andrew Mangiapane, and then Shillington. The number one priority for the Calgary Flames isn't to go sign Nino Niederreiter to a 5-year, $5.75
that's kind of the most
deal.
That's an interesting example to use. Carry on.
Yeah, but like, look at you pull up the guy's stats, man. Like he's nothing to write home about. Okay, if you don't overpay for him, he might be a decent fit. But that's what happens on day one of free agency. You overpay for this stuff. So to everybody out there, that's
GMs fuck up on day one. And that comes back to bite them in the what's later on.
So how is
that's the reality of free agency?
How is it a fuck up by the Flames on free agency to sign a bunch of depth guys to replace what we lost in the cupboard in Stockton? How is that a fuck up? Like I don't understand it, man.
Another thing too is you cannot replace Johnny Gaudreau.
No, you can't.
It's gonna take you a long time to find that next Johnny Gaudreau.
Gaudreau is out there. You don't absolutely the Flames were calling on him, and they probably did make him an offer. It's taking so long because I truly believe he wants to stay in Colorado. That's where he went. He turned down a trade to go there. That's probably where he wants to be. You better believe that the Flames were in on that, but it just doesn't make sense to do any of that stuff right now. It does not, man. Like why? Like John Klingberg was out there at the halfway through the season saying that he wanted 8 years, 8 million from the Stars. Why would we do that? Like, what does that make any sense? Like, it's insane the amount of people out there online that are so mad that we haven't made impulse signings. Like, when has that ever worked? When has that ever worked? It never has. Troy Brouwer. Like, we talked about this stuff. We talked about it before free agency. It's fucking mind-blowing. Like, it's just so fucking frustrating with these Flames fans, man. Like, I understand that things suck right now. You don't work for Flamesnation. I do. I'm the one that deals with this bullshit. So relax, breathe. Things are going to happen that you cannot control. Matthew Tkachuk could accept a qualifying offer and we could trade him. That's life. That's reality. It could happen. To sit here and say, I'm done with the Flames and start burning Flames jerseys. You're no better than those assholes that live up north from us. They dealt with these dark years for 15 years, man. And that's what they're known for. Yeah. It's just like, I'm completely on a complete tangent here. Cause this is just, I wanted a better offseason than this. We all did, man. It goes on the complete flip side. What happens if we sign Johnny Gaudreau? Are we talking about all this shit?
Probably.
Guys will be praising Brad Treliving, but they're not, man. They're not. But
it's something. I will say this though, if Tkachuk is not back, I think you absolutely have to consider all the options on the table at that point. Like I think the thing that we talked about, and it's actually a question that we should pose for one of our video clips for Twitter or Instagram and those types of things. But do you absolutely, in your right mind, trust Brad Treliving to oversee a complete and utter teardown if it's done properly?
No, I don't. I don't think that he's earned the right to do that. Do I want to say that it was a rebuild in 2014 when he showed up? Probably. Maybe more of a.
It was very rushed after the Flames made it to the second round against Anaheim. Like it was pretty clear that they thought they were ready at that point after training with Jerome and all those guys, but it was pretty clear after that they were not quite ready at that point. That they should have just kept along with the course of the rebuild.
Yeah, I don't know if I would trust Brad Treliving with a rebuild. Like I said, I don't think he's earned the right. I don't think GMs get the opportunity to do 2 rebuilds. So
not a chance.
You'd want some fresh blood in there. You'd probably want someone a little bit younger, someone that's going to try something a little bit different. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to get to that point. Like, obviously, it's a reality there that it could happen with Matthew Tkachuk.
Look, I will say this though. If the Flames if the organization finally decides to embrace a proper rebuild, I will be so happy if that's the case. Because at some point, because that's just how the NHL has worked for the last maybe decade or so. Teams have completely teared it down from completely to the studs, and look where they've gone back to. They've gone back to being Stanley Cup contenders,
right,
in a short period of time. So Murray Edwards needs to embrace a rebuild. At some point, he needs to embrace a rebuild, but he doesn't care. He's out there living in Switzerland, and he doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about the Flames, whether it's succeeding or not. No, he only cares if the money is going into his bank account. That's all he gives a shit about.
I just don't understand the Flames fans that are saying that even if we get Tkachuk, we have to rebuild. Why? I don't understand. You want to
wait? What was that? What was that? Sorry,
I said that there are fans out there that are saying that even if you retain Tkachuk long term, whatever, it still should be a rebuild because we lost Johnny.
I think that's Facebook comments you're reading there.
Yeah, but that's my job.
I'm pretty sure
that's my job, Noah. That's what I do.
I know it's your
So
job.
I
But it's
see that.
man. I don't think I've seen that.
No, do I think that they're? I have. Trust me, I have, and it's just it makes no sense, man. You want to rebuild when you have Tkachuk, Lindholm, Mangiapane, say that they are signed. Tkachuk,
Okay.
Lindholm, Mangiapane, Blake Coleman. You still have Backlund. You've got Dubé. You've got prospects like Pelche and Zary and Coronado. You've got Anderson. You've got Tanev. You got Hanifin. You have Shillington. You have Connor Mackey, and you've got Jacob Markstrom. And because you lost Johnny Gaudreau, you want to rebuild? Explain that one to me. Trust me, it's so tempting in the comments to cut right back. Just explain that one to me. But it just makes no sense. Now, if you lose Matthew Tkachuk, it all depends on your return back too. Okay. If he takes the 1 year and is like, yeah, no, I want out, you guys can move me. You're not getting nothing for him. Okay.
I think you're set. I think though, with all the pieces that you have, all the chips that you have on the squad right now, you're set up really well to really start a rebuild from and tear it all down to the studs, because Markstrom's value is high. Lindholm's value is at its absolute highest it's ever been. Chris Tanev's value is high. Like all these guys, if you were to begin a proper rebuild, you could cash in massively on that.
You could, man, but that's only if you're not able to retain your star, right?
Obviously, exactly.
But my whole thought is even if he wants out, you're gonna get a haul for him. You're either gonna get a haul,
James Ransom. But
that's the thing is you're gonna get a top player, a top prospect, and multiple picks. So unless you want to just get prospects and picks for him and do the whole rebuild thing, like you're getting a playable guy. No, you're not going to get a 100-point guy like Matthew Tkachuk was. And this kind of dates back to what we were saying about fans calling for Johnny's head 2 years ago and saying, get him out of here. What if these guys, they had career years and you sign them to these long-term deals where you're paying Johnny Gaudreau $10.5 million and he reverts back to a 70-point guy. Like it can go either way, right? Like, or he could come back and he could get 100 points again. You just don't know. That's just the gamble in all this stuff, man. Like
pretty big gamble indeed. Pretty big risk.
So to kind of end it off here, what happened today? It was the Tkachuk and the Flames. They filed for the club elected salary arbitration. So that takes away the opportunity for the Flames to get offer sheeted on Matthew Tkachuk. Same thing. Fans just absolutely losing their minds saying that he's gone. And I don't know, if you know the answer, I need you to explain it to me why people are freaking out and saying he's gone because of this.
I don't know. Again, it's like if I knew what the answer was, I would be able to properly explain it, but I can't.
No, that's okay, man. It's just I'm scratching my head why people are like, yeah, he's gone. Oh, he's gone. Because they took away the opportunity to get offer sheeted. Okay.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is that I don't think there was any way that he was going to get offer sheeted or any teams would be interested in offer sheeting him at all.
Even if he
why would they give up those picks?
But even if he did, the amount of teams that can afford that price, they're bottom feeders, man. Like
exactly.
But
still, it's just like I don't understand why. It's like why are you so scared of him potentially being offer sheet? Because as you said, the only teams that could potentially offer sheet Matthew Tkachuk are in Arizona or Chicago, and they're going to be absolute dumpster fires next year battling for Connor Bedard.
Right. It is, man. And like people saying tank for Bedard, there's no way you're outbidding the Blackhawks, man. See, look at those guys.
Oh yeah,
there's no way.
Oh yeah, Flames. Oh yeah, Flames fans. Let's take for Bedard. The Blackhawks. Hold my beer, please.
Yeah, exactly, man. You're not outbidding those guys. So what's the point, man? So this basically, to me, it extends his time period to negotiate with them. In my mind, that means that things were not going well in the negotiation. And it's, maybe you got the vibe that on Friday, because today is Monday, on Friday, he would have accepted that 1-year qualifying offer. Does it mean that the two sides are fighting this and that? Maybe they just need more time to figure this out. And this is the best way for the Flames.
Or is there potentially a chance that maybe they're extending the window to talk to another team about a trade partner? Do you think there's a possibility that
maybe
it could?
It extends the window for a lot of things, man. A lot of things. And I don't know, man. I don't know what these I'm not in there. I'm not in these meetings, man. Like I don't know if they're, they're able to.
I'm not either, but it's just one of these things where I think there's a reason. There's just a gut feeling, right? That it's okay, so what's going on, right? And part of me, heading into today, felt at 40, 50 that he was going to sort of re-sign long term, because it's just like, you want him to have those thoughts of like, screw you, this is my team now. But it's just like, knowing how the Tkachuks operate, there's a bit of concern when it comes to that.
It is, man. Like
and I'm it's not, no slander on Matthew Tkachuk or on the Tkachuks as a whole.
I'm not sitting here crying about him, doing this with the team. I'm not sitting here. Nobody knows, man. No one's part of this stuff like that. Like, and so many people on Twitter had no idea what this even meant. I'm lucky that I have fucking Ryan Pike on speed dial, so I know what this stuff means. It just means that they got more time to negotiate, whether that's a deal or a trade, man. Like, you need time and all this stuff, man. Like, it's the Flames. Their number one priority right now isn't to sign Nazem Kadri or Nito Niederreiter or John Klingberg. Their number one priority right now is to figure out their RFAs and try to retain them long term. You don't think that Brad Treliving knows that his job is on the fucking line? He knows that his job is on the line. So he's going to do whatever he can to do this.
Because he knows if he loses Tkachuk, he's going to be in complete and utter shambles, having to break to Murray that, hey, you know what, Murray, we may have to actually tear it all down.
No, I know, but then fans aren't going to show up, and they're going to continue to be as bitter.
There are a lot of fans, though, that would absolutely get behind a rebuild. It's if Murray Edwards says yes. That's all it comes down to, is him.
Yeah, I know. It would be, man. And, we go back to the whole Johnny thing, and, I've been a Flames fan my whole life. I am comfortable in my own skin right now, and I don't give a shit what Oilers Nation says. The Saddle Dome is not an NHL arena. It's not, man.
It's not. Not at this point, sadly to say.
Guys don't want to play in the Saddle Dome, man. They just don't. It's not an NHL arena, and it absolutely sucks. And if you want stuff on the rink situation, go to Ryan Pike, because I don't know enough about it to say that.
Yeah, I know. Like, Pike is the absolute genius when it comes to the whole arena discussion thing. So please, folks, go check out his articles.
Yeah, I don't know enough as to why the deal got pulled, but the reality is it's not there. So if they would have broke the ground when they were supposed to, and this thing would have been on track for, I think it was the 24-25 season.
Maybe then there's a better chance, because it's like, okay, we're signed long term and we know a new arena is coming. So this is going to make it,
man. It's
a huge factor.
And the Flames and the city of Calgary, they need to get their shit figured out, because no one's going to want to come play here. Man.
I don't want to get all political here when it comes to this, but like Gondek and Murray Edwards, they both need to get their asses back to the table and figure this thing out soon.
Yeah.
No, they just have to, man.
It's tough times, man. It's tough times. And the gravity thing is the Flames are like, everyone sees them going down like that, and all I can say about Flames Nation is we're going up like this.
And I think
let's figure this shit out.
Another reason I think why people are, I think to an extent as scared, and I think to an extent as sad and mad as everyone is because the team had such a great season.
Yeah.
In 12-13, when they were selling everybody off, when Jerome was leaving, the team was horrible. The team was going into a forced upon rebuild.
Yeah.
This stings more because of the fact that the team had the second best season in franchise history, regular season wise, and this team won a series.
You take Johnny Gaudreau away, do they do that though?
In terms of winning the no. In terms of having the same success this season and winning the series, no.
So maybe that's why the fans are freaking out, man, because they know that it's not going to come. But you sign Tkachuk and you sign Mangiapane and all this stuff, you have no idea what they're going to do with the remaining cap space. If you listen to Nikita Zadorov, his interview with Pat, he was saying that management has reassured them that they've got some money to spend here. So who knows what they're going to do with it, man. And this is also confusing to us. I have no idea how long this extends the arbitration and the signing with Matthew Tkachuk. Who knows who's going to be available in that time, because in September we were signing Brad Richardson and Gabranson and this and that, right? The same people that are crying and complaining about this stuff are the same people that were crying and complaining and saying that we're going to finish in last because we signed Gabranson. And look how that turned out. Again, educate yourself, Flames fans. Educate yourself. Be better than screaming and crying over Twitter, man. It's just, I know it's hard, man. I know it's hard. This is not fun to be a Flames fan. It's not fun to be working for a company that covers the Flames right now. Yes, the nation's fun, but covering this team right now is not fun. It's not fun. But we're gonna have to.
At least I'm a Yankee fan right now. I can be happy about them.
I guess you can. I mean, I
and I have to deal with this with Judge in 4 months time with that situation. I'm gonna have to deal with this all over again.
It's gonna happen to any, and how many times has it already happened in the world of sport, right?
It's happened as many times as as you and I can remember.
This is the first time it's happened to the Flames in my memory, other than the Jerome McGinley stuff, but we didn't lose him we did lose him for nothing, but you had the opportunity not to. This is I think Boston doesn't have a deal in place with Pastrnak. They're gonna have to deal with it next year, man. Like Pittsburgh almost dealt with it with Malkin. And yes, Oilers.
Isn't Crosby up in 3 years?
Soon, yeah, I think soon. But I think they're kind of their core is all together for
but most likely this is just his last ride the last couple of years, I think. And I think once his contract's up, I don't think. I mean, the only team I could really see Sidney Crosby going to is the Habs. I could really consider.
Well, they're not even.
I could see it just because of the fact that it was his team growing up, and he feels.
I could see it being the Avalanche. Cool. I could see it be the Avalanche because he wants to go play with McKinnon.
Maybe.
But what I was saying is, Oilers fans, dogpiling on us doing this kind of stuff, they know in the back of their head that if they are not successful in the next whatever it is, 4, 5, I don't even know the contract deal. If they are not successful,
for McDavid.
If they kept getting swept, if they kept getting jerseys thrown on the ice, you can bet your ass that he is gone. Mm-hmm. Gone. There's already been talks in the past of, Draisaitl, McDavid's gone. If you guys do not have success in the next couple of years, he is gone. And trust me, I have all the receipts in the world from Nation Dan, from Zach, from Bagnall. I kept those receipts, man. And I will send them right back to you when McDavid walks, man. And we will be laughing the entire time because you let another Gretzky go. So at that, we'll leave it at that, man. Things are going to happen. Things are going to change. If Matthew Tkachuk ends up signing whenever, we'll hop on Instagram Live again. Noah and I aren't as educated on this as everybody out there. Ryan Pike's podcast will drop Wednesday or Thursday of this week. You will get a good educational lesson on what this means from Pike this week. And again, Pike's got some amazing articles out there, probably explaining a lot more of this. The Tkachuk stuff just happened tonight. So both of our last podcasts have happened on nights where this all just happened. So more details will come. Stay confident, Flames fans. Be nice to each other. Quit burning jerseys. We're not the Leafs. We're not the Oilers. We don't throw stuff on the ice. Try to be better out there. And good things are going to happen. I can feel it. This has been another episode of Shot Down in Flames. I'm Printzy. That's Noah. Thanks, everybody.